afternoon, everyone. My name is Samantha Mowat. I'm a clairvoyant psychic, a contactee, and I come to you today from Scarabray, this amazing historical site in Scotland. And I'd like to explain to you how it doesn't seem to matter where you are if you're a contactee. You could be in your home or in a neighboring town. You can be visiting another country. Stuff like that doesn't seem to matter when you're someone who experiences contact with multidimensional and extraterrestrial beings. And the reason being is these beings seem to have a really good idea about where you're located. Now, let's say you're like me and you have a lot of personal encounters, and you're having encounters where you're seeing them a lot when you're astral projecting, you're seeing them a lot in your waking life, and then all of a sudden you go through a period where your encounters seem to really diminish, yet you still feel a lot of extraterrestrial multidimensional energy. You may notice during those times that you actually have a lot more sightings of craft or orbs or things of that nature. And this is something that happened to me in the end of July 2014. I was having these really strong encounters, and then all of a sudden I noticed for a few days, about 10 days I believe it was, my encounters seemed to diminish exponentially. And while this was happening, I noticed that when my husband and I would go lay on the dock at night, we would see these amazing stars out, and it'd be a very clear night where you could see not only stars and shooting stars, but you could actually track the satellite patterns. You're able to see the energy as it's moving around in the night sky. But then we started to notice that we would find these really odd patterns going on as well. We would notice 5 or 6 stars that seemed to be clumped together that would be moving across the night sky, and they weren't going in the typical patterns in which you would see the satellites going across the sky, and they certainly weren't planes because, well, when you are in a very small town like Port Alberni, British Columbia, you're able to see the flight patterns as they're going across the ocean they're going over Vancouver Island from Vancouver out towards, let's say, Japan or Asia, things of that nature. So you actually get a good idea about where the flights typically go. And you're probably wondering, okay, well maybe it's flights from the local airport. Well, no, it's a very small town with a very small airport. Getting back to the point. Anyways, we'd be laying on the dock, and we have one of our little green lasers, and we would just, you take your little laser and you just flicker it at these stars, the ones that look like they're not stars, and you're like, okay, let's say it's going north to south, and all of a sudden it decides to do a 90-degree turn and start going east to west. Well, you're pretty clear at that point that what you're looking at, if you're flashing it with your laser, which please do not take this as me telling you to do this, is just something that we end up doing in our family cabins. And anyway, if you're flashing it with your laser and you go like 1, 2, pause, 3, and then it flashes you back that exact same pattern, then chances are you're actually in communication with something rather than it being a plane or a satellite. Now, if you actually start to develop your clairvoyance, you are able to change the way in which your field of perception interacts. So, if you're operating from a normal standpoint and you're just out there laying on the dock and you're looking up the sky, you might just see stars and satellites and say the occasional craft. But if you're operating from more of a clairvoyant perspective, then it changes altogether again. You're able to have stuff like, you'll start to see orbs moving across, sort of if it's really windy, or my guides told me it's going to be a lot of wind noise, so they asked me to say that in there, and I will try to deal with that. But on top of orbs, you may see these weird, almost like particles of light that look like they're 5, 6 inches long that kind of float down through the sky very randomly. And things like that are more the multidimensional beings that are going to be interacting with you. They can have a similar energy to extraterrestrials in the sense that it feels very foreign and very different, and you are able to communicate with many of these beings, but it does take some practice. Well, I'm going to find another beautiful location and hopefully go do a few more videos. It's nice talking to you. Peace, love, and light. Bye.